Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am Priscilla Baldwin, the author of Caregiving 101, huh? This is the second session of the book series, and I hope that you are enjoying it. Tonight, we are going to take a look and read an excerpt out of this book. And the topic for tonight is caring for the one you love. So let's read. When starting Life Care Companions of Northwest Florida, our experience came from a caring heart and a willingness to assist families with their loved ones. We believe in being humble servants, led to assist in whatever capacity needed to sustain the lifespan of those in our care. Our analogy is that of being a driver of a car. When you are assisting, just like a driver, your vision is limited, tunnel vision. You can only see so far. When the tables turn and it hits close to home or even your family, you are now officially in the back seat. When you're in the front seat of a car, we all know that when we're driving, that you do have tunnel vision. You can see as far as the windshield, right? So, because you're so concentrated on the other drivers, traffic, and things of that nature. But when you're in the back seat of the car, you see your view is broader. You see more things than what the actual driver sees, right? And the person in the back seat now has a clearer and broader view of the overall picture. It's quite possible that this person sees more than the driver of the vehicle. It's a quite a different view, one you will never forget on this journey of caregiving. Please keep the person you love in mind because this individual that you're caring for is the person that you love. The situation and the circumstance has changed, whether it's a chronic illness, whether it's physical disability, whether it's dementia, whether it's a person that's older and they're aging in place or they're aging with grace. We have to keep that in mind that it's the same person, but the circumstances has changed. And what I really want everyone to understand that being a caregiver, whether it's your first time caring for someone or you've been caregiving for a while, whether you are a professional caregiver, family member, or just a family friend caring for someone in your community. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, you get upset that you've repeated yourself 100 times only to receive the same response. You have to pick and choose your battles, and that's in anything. If it's not a safety issue for your loved one, it's okay to let them wear what they like. Getting dressed for the day alone is a major accomplishment. Hats off to you. Getting your individual to cooperate early in the morning, especially if before the illness they were not a morning person, right? If you can pick and choose the battles that you're going to fight, whether it's your loved one wearing mismatched socks or a shirt and a pair of pants that you don't think matches. As long as they're dressed, as long as they're healthy, as long as you have not taken away the autonomy from them making the choice of wearing mismatched socks or wearing a shirt and a pants that don't match. It's fine. As your day progresses, there's bigger battles to fight. And getting them dressed is not a big issue, you know, unless we make it an issue. So Pick and choose your battles. That's one thing, safety first for your loved one and for you as well. What we're going to do tonight, we're going to look at the analogy that we just spoke about in the book about you being the driver, right? The driver is the one that's in control of the vehicle. So when we look at gripping the steering wheel, and these are just analogies that we can look at. When you're gripping the steering wheel, being in the driver's seat, you're basically more focused on the road, on the pedestrians. So that can be equivalent to the schedules that you have for your loved one, the appointments that you need to go to, the safety issues, your daily routines for yourself, for your home, for your family, and for your loved one, right? So we have to be mindful of the very things that we do on a daily basis concerning our loved ones, concerning ourselves and our families. The other thing is, as you're driving, there are some blind spots that you didn't see the person come around the corner, right? And even in caregiving, there are some blind spots. There are some blind spots in caregiving. It's the hyper focusing on the mechanics of the care with your tunnel vision. With the blind spots of caregiving, it's you not doing the self-care that you need to do for yourself. It's the exhaustion that comes with a day of working and coming home and still have to care for your loved one, you know? So self-care is the most important thing that you could ever do for yourself as well as your loved one. So self-care should be at the top of your list, right? Because you can't pour from an empty cup, you know. And I'll continue to say that self-care is you taking care of yourself because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you have to replenish. You have to reset. You have to reposition yourself. You have to have your mindset together in order to take care of someone else, right? Because if your mindset is not together, there is no way that you can provide the appropriate care for someone else. Does that make sense to you? I hope so. The other thing is the illusion of navigating healthcare alone. That the belief that you have that if your hands is taken off the wheel, we know that when you take your hands off the wheel, the car is going to veer off in another direction. Same thing with caregiving. If we have the mindset that we're not a part of the process of caregiving, that everything's going to veer off by itself. But we have to have support systems in place for your loved ones, for yourself, right? So if you have established a support system, whether it's with your siblings, friends, groups from church, or groups that your loved ones were a part of, grandchildren coming over, the support system has to be in place so that everyone can be a part of the process of helping you when you're burnt out, when you're exhausted, when you just can't see your way. We all need help. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help, right? Because we have to delegate and allow others to come in to help us. Because if we don't, exhaustion will set in, resentment will set in, anger, frustration, all of those things will set in. And we need to avoid that. And the support system that you have in place will help you, right? So if you have the support system, do not hesitate to ask for help. If you need respite once a week or once a month, whatever that looks like for you, so that you can replenish, that you can, build yourself up, that your body rests, right? Because sometimes when we're caring for our loved one and they are wanderers, or if they are sundowners, that disrupts our sleep cycle. And when your sleep cycle is interrupted, it's not good for you and it's not good for the person that you're taking care of, right? Because we all need at least, some of us, 8 hours of sleep, right? Some people function with 6 hours of sleep. Some people even function with 5 and 4 hours of sleep, right? I'm the 8 hour girl. So we have to nourish our bodies with sleep, with nutrition, with hydration. The same thing that you do for your loved one. You're going to make sure that that individual is fed. You're going to make sure that they're in a safe environment. You're going to make sure that they are hydrated, right? So all of these things that we do for our loved one, we have to partake in the same thing for ourselves, right? Because we have to be able to get our loved ones to where they need to go, to the doctor, to the physical therapy, to outings in the community, right? Because we want to make sure that they are in a safe place, that they are well taken care of, right? Surrounded by family and friends. That's the goal. So when we talk about the turning point and we talk about the back seat, the analogy that we talked about in the book, the back seat is a broader place. You see a lot of things from the back seat that you normally wouldn't see in the driver's seat, because your attention is so focused on where it needs to be, with other cars, pedestrians, looking out for the ambulance or the police or things to that nature. You're going to be on high alert with your sight, with your ears, when you're in the front seat. In the back seat, we're looking at the moment caregiving stops being a duty or a role, it becomes personal. When we take on the role of caregiving, caregiving is not a role, it's not a performance. It's you taking care of an individual, whether it's your loved one, whether it's a client, you know? So it's not a role that we play, it's a position that we're in. And that's the difference between role playing and being in the position of care, the position of taking care of someone, looking out for someone, making sure that individual is well cared for, right? So it's not a role, it's a position. And it's one that we take serious. We take serious on a personal level, on a professional level, depending on who you're taking care of, right? So I know I'm going back and forth. These are with my glasses. But caring for the person who holds your heart, whether it's your mother, whether it's your dad, sister, brother, son, daughter, it's the person that you love the most. And you want to make sure that every possible area is taken care of and that they receive the very things that they need, and that we're not half stepping and taking care of anyone, right? So when we learn to relinquish the wheel, that's the emotional shock of being in the back seat, where we're seeing everything from the back seat, how the mechanics of healthcare works, the ins and outs of the healthcare system, how to navigate the healthcare system, you know, and I'm in the previous session, I talked about the gatekeepers. There are gatekeepers. There are people who literally will not tell you how to navigate the system or who you need to see, what you need to do. So we need to be mindful of the gatekeepers, but we also need to be mindful to advocate for our loved one, you know, the things that that individual would not have agreed to, you know, earlier before the sickness, before the cognitive impairment, so we have to advocate for our loved ones, whatever that looks like, whether it's in medications, whether it's in treatment, whatever that looks like. Advocate, advocate, advocate for your loved ones and your clients as well. What I want to leave with you tonight is story time. My dad had dementia, and my father had a very dry sense of humor. And we went to the doctor, and he had to go to the doctor, and my dad did not like the interstate. So if you drove the interstate going anywhere, you could not come back the same way. You had to take the highway. So we had left the doctor's office and we had on our way home. And my dad loved McDonald's coffee. And we were getting ready to go home. We were at the light and he says, I want some coffee. Are you going to are you going to do breakfast? So we went through the drive-through and he tells me, he says, order anything you want. So I placed my order of what I wanted, and my dad placed his order. Normally, I could prompt him and put my hand out and say, for him to give me the money to pay. So this particular day, I thought everything was normal, right? So I placed my hand out for him to give me the money to pay the lady in the drive-through. And my dad's looking at me and I'm looking at him. And I put my hand out again, to get the money. And he looks at me and I'm looking at him. And the lady in the drive-through is looking at both of us like, what in the world? So I try to prompt him again. And I put my hand out, for the money. And my daddy is a small man with a very billowing voice. And he says, pay the lady. And I'm looking at him like, what? I'm not used to having to pay. But I paid the lady. And I thought it was just so funny how he had basically set me up to get what he wanted. But anyway, he got the coffee and we went to the house. And he says, while we're waiting for the light to change, now don't you feel better? And I'm like, yeah, I feel a lot better. So I said all this to let you know that the people that we love, they still have that sense of humor. They still have that love for you. They still have quirky stuff that goes on, right? And I still remember that to this day about him saying, don't you feel better? So that was just one of the many stories on my journey to caregiving with my dad, you know. So remember the person that you love, that you cherish, that you would do anything in the world for, right? Because it's the same person. It's the same heartbeat. It's the same love that they have for you. And I thank you for joining me tonight. I thank you for spending your time with us. The next book club session is August the 31st. And it's the same caring that we have for our loved ones. I hope that we have the same caregiving love for humanity, right? Because that's what humanity needs right now. So join us August the 31st. Same bat time, same bat station. We'll see you there. Good night.